Good morning. Well, excuse me. Good afternoon, everybody. Dadman Walking here. 4 minutes after 2 on the East Coast today, December 3rd, 2023. Um, just wanted to greet everybody, say hello, welcome to this special stream. Um, that is, it's a little history, a little vacation, but at the end of the day, it is a one that has a somber meaning for a lot of people and a historical event that took place. Um, and I'm grateful for everybody that will join us. And if you watch on replay later, if you miss it, would love it. And um, appreciate your support with this, with the channel, but also a chance to look back on something very monumental in the course of American history. And um, yet at the same time, appreciating the beauty of a place where, so much had happened. As we talked about the Mississippi on our Civil War tours and things of revolutionary battlefields. Yeah, there's a lot of history in a lot of these areas. Uh, that what would it have been like to be back there at that time when something happened? And this is one of the prettiest places I think in the world that you have here at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, and frankly, a place that so few people will probably ever make and see in person in their lifetime. Um, their videos are always done on this, and some tours. There are great YouTube channels out there that do a lot more detailed information. They have access to more information and places, and it's really interesting to go to look into the history of the events. But with that said, let me go ahead and bring in our guest of the afternoon. Will be here who actually made this trip to Hawaii, and you know her from Fortnite mostly, but hey, she's branching out, and she's so gracious to spend time to send me these pictures that we're going to talk about, and to tell us to come on today to talk about her trip and this visit to Pearl Harbor and the Arizona Memorial. Let me welcome you in, Carol, to the show. Carol, how are you today?
Hey, Chad. Hi, Dad, man. Thank you. I'm doing good.
Good,
Doing
good.
good.
Glad to have you on. I mean, it's kind of new. You're something more than just a game. Actually, you get to talk and we get to hear from the real person.
I know. I will be very different toward what Fortnite is here. So,
Yeah, I know. Wait
yeah.
till we get you on for hockey. I'm sure hockey would be fun too. But
Yes.
I tell you, I bet having you and Mrs. at watching a hockey game together would be quite a sight because she is something, especially when she gets down to the glass in hockey. So, um, yeah. Well, again, like I said, thank you for being here, and I appreciate you being here. Let me go ahead and talk to the chat real quick, and then we're gonna let us know a little bit about yourself and what started this trip. But let me go ahead and excuse me, with 5 people here, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe on the YouTube side. Follow us on the Twitch side. We appreciate everybody that's here. But Corey's here first. Good to see you. You're not late yet, but I think he said he may have to watch this on replay. All right. Well, we will do it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being here. Our guest, Carol, is here saying hello there. Cardi, who's one of our great followers, is here often from South Africa. Hello to you. The great Mrs. Dadman Walking's
Hello.
here, of
Hi,
course.
Mrs. Dad, man.
Exactly. And to Daisy Blossom, who comes in, to those who paid the ultimate price and service to our country and to their families, thank you for your sacrifice. Absolutely well said, Daisy, and thank you
Yeah,
for being
very
here
well said,
today.
Judy.
Exactly. So, well, so Carol,
Yes.
this, how often have you been to Hawaii? And was this your first trip to, say, like Pearl Harbor itself?
This has not been my first. It's actually my second. The first one was about 5 to 6 years ago, where I took my aunt for her birthday and we visited Pearl Harbor then. And then this year, I took my mom for her birthday and we went to Pearl Harbor then as well.
Oh, wow.
So that's their
Well,
birthday gifts from me.
oh, those are nice birthday gifts. I'm sure the missus would like me to give her a birthday gift like that, but that was interesting. I mean, what is there to do in Hawaii as a general? I mean, to me, because of the history part of me,
Uh,
this is all I think of. But what is
right.
there to do in Hawaii if you went did go there?
There is a lot. I mean, if you love the beaches, you wanna visit the beaches. We were, by the area of Waikiki, also by the same time that the Maui fires were going on.
Oh,
It just
that's
never
right.
stopped. It's just an ongoing thing. Hawaii has a tourist, attractions. The majority is the Pearl Harbor. You have that, the Missouri, which is in the background.
Mhm.
Um, but it so it's just that but if you are like a history buff, the Pearl Harbor is the one that you wanna go see.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. How big is the touristy area? Because is this on Oahu, or is this which
Mm, this is on the main island,
the
Waikiki
main island?
Island.
The Waikiki, okay, Waikiki Island. Okay.
So the tour itself the main island Waikiki, yes. The tour itself, the one that we took is about I think it's about 2 hours
Hmm.
because just getting there, they tell you to go meet up a place where they take you from there to Pearl Harbor, and, the driver t actually tells you the story going on, he was a history buff,
Hmm.
and so he was telling you the story about, Pearl Harbor. So it took us about maybe about a half an hour, 45 minutes to get there. They gave us basically instructions, or to be more aware of where we were going, what we were gonna be doing in a
Hmm.
location like this.
Interesting.
So,
Yeah.
it's on
Yeah.
a
Okay. So
yes,
there are multiple options of things to do. You had mentioned
Oahu
you were there when
Island.
when you
So
were
the
at the when you mentioned that the fires were going on there. Could you were they? I guess
oop,
they were on this island too. Were you smelling the smoke and stuff?
no, 'cause the island where we were is very far it's a Maui is a totally different
Oh, okay.
island, it's further
Oh,
away
okay.
from us.
Okay.
But the thing is that you'd kinda think that they'd be like, "Okay, be careful, do this or that," but no, it was just an ongoing thing, but just like it never stopped. Yeah, I mean, you had your locations where it said, do the donations and things like that, but life just continued on, like, just went on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, that kind of is
Uh,
when we have fires here, but I mean, at least in close proximity, the smoke travels. So, and you never know, like it when you
mhm,
have a lot of wildfires near us because we've had it down here in the south.
right.
With especially the rural areas,
Mhm.
Georgia or Florida. When the trees catch on fire, the woods it burns and burns a while and goes forever. So it can travel, but okay. Well, um,
Yeah, it
so this
wasn't
is
too bad
yeah. Go
over
ahead.
there. I mean, there were some days yeah. Sorry, there were some days that were cloudy, but nothing out of the ordinary, they said over there. It's like, we were asking. It's like, "No, just some
Mhm.
cloudy days," but that was it.
That blue water, does that blue water look as beautiful in person as these pictures are showing?
Yes, it really does. It's beautiful around there. It's crystal clear, some waters that you can just look down and just straight down. It's beautiful.
Mm, well,
Mm,
I know. Well, I do remember that they shot the first Jurassic Park movie in the Hawaiian Islands. I don't. It
mm.
wasn't in this part, but they shot with in the Hawaiian Islands as a hurricane was approaching. That's why when you see the Jurassic Park, you see the waves and stuff, and the
Yeah.
storms coming. There really was a storm coming. And
Oh,
so that was
wow.
real footage. They actually shot parts of the movie during the hurricane over there. So
Wow.
it was
That I
interesting.
did
Yeah,
not
it's a
know.
yeah. Well, and it's rare for Hawaii to get hit by hurricanes. It's really weird because you on the east, on our side of the world,
Uh-huh.
they all move west and they kind of come north, and but over there, it's like when they move far enough east, or move far enough west, and if they get further north, they fall apart. So it's
Yeah.
one of those, but they have good geography for the most part. So, but yes.
Yeah.
So on a personal note, other than and we're going to talk about this and
Mhm.
December 7th a little bit. was your favorite thing to have done on this trip? Was it the beaches, or that was not necessarily was this? What was, say, your favorite relaxation or favorite thing to do?
You know what? Just to walk around, check out the stores, do the beaches, do some of the tours. That free, I know this sounds silly, but that freedom and knowing you're not working, but you're enjoying your view. You're enjoying
Hmm.
the time that you have. I what do you call it? I enjoy having my mom around, so just having spending some time with her as well.
Hmm.
So and getting that
Oh, that's
opportunity
good.
to spend it with her in Hawaii.
And did you go for a week or 10 days or?
We went for 10 days. We went for ten
Right.
days. Every day was beautiful. It was in the high 80s, and then by the midday it was like 96, and
It just seems like
with the heat and all that,
okay.
it felt like it was like a 100 and something.
Hmm.
So
Uh, Feels like Florida.
uh,
Feels like Florida, but hey, it's all good. Well, so did you find that that was a nice length of stay for the trip? Because I know sometimes, like when we went to Colorado and Wyoming, we look back and we it was too rushed for, but we were driving and stuff. You know, if when you go a distance like this, you really want to make sure you spend enough time. But do you think it was? You ever look back and say, well, you always say you wish you had more time, but
yeah,
did it seem to be
for me,
sufficient?
uh, it is sufficient. The only thing I do suggest if you are considering going, bring a lot of money. It's very expensive. We we knew what we were doing ahead of time. We planned it ahead of time. But Hawaii is very expensive. Something small that can cost you like $5 or $6 here, over there it's almost like double, 12, $13. Something simple.
Wow.
Because everything is imported over there, so everything has to be a certain price. And to us was like, okay, we'll do this, we'll ration this. Um, but we enjoyed our time, so
Hmm.
we didn't do a lot of eating out, that you want to do, but that was fine with us. But definitely, if you do go, 10 days was fine for us. A lot of
Just
people would stay longer if they want, but it's
hmm
just the money wise. It's just bring money. That's what it
wow.
is.
Yeah, exactly. That
Yeah.
just it's something we take for granted, because we're just like, I think in some
Yes.
ways it's also like with Alaska, talking to Alaska Jeff before. Even though they're contiguous to Canada, you still
Mhm.
have to get it through back roads and air flight or by sea. You can't don't just ship it very easily. It takes a long time to move stuff across. Well,
Right.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we're
Yeah.
17 minutes in. Carol, thank you for, like I said, thanks again for being here. We got 5 people with us, and we'll take a look at
You're welcome. Thank you.
the big thing itself was, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce what
Mhm.
had happened with the events, so that people
Sure.
understand with what we're talking about with
Mhm.
Pearl Harbor. It was Pearl Harbor's as a naval, and I'm taking what the information I got today from history.com. Um, it's a
Uh-huh.
good summary with the events. Pearl Harbor was a U is still currently a U.S. naval base near Honolulu, Hawaii. It was the scene
Mhm.
of a surprise attack by Japanese forces on December 7th, 1941, just before 8 a.m. on the Sunday morning. Hundreds of Japanese, well, they call fighter planes, but really you had fighters, torpedo bombers, dive bombers, attacked the base, not just Pearl Harbor itself, but you had Hickam Field, Ford Island. There were many other bases on the island itself too. The attack managed to uh, destroy, sink, damage nearly 20 American naval vessels, including 8
Mhm.
battleships and over 300 airplanes. More than 2,400 Americans died in the attack, including civilians, and another 1,000 people were wounded. Let me do this. I'm
Yep.
bring bring this up. Here's a visual of the situation at December 7th, 1941 at 7:55 in the a.m. Um, as you see, you, we can see over in here, there's the Arizona, which is the memorial, the site of the memorial, and we'll talk more about that. But this was known as Battleship Row. It started with the California, you had the Maryland, the Oklahoma, because battleships were named after states. The Arizona, the Vestal, I believe, was a cruiser or a destroyer. There was a difference. It was not a battleship. The Nevada was in the back, or technically the front, because that was leading out of the harbor up in that direction. As you can see, there are different there are different dry docks, different docking areas all around. The Pennsylvania is in the back. That's another battleship. The Shaw was a destroyer down here, and a floating dry dock. Uh, and then all around the island, you've got different cruisers over here. The Utah, as a battleship, the Raleigh. The Utah was actually a target ship at the time. Was really outdated, but the two ships that did not get repurposed, refitted were the Utah and the Arizona. And you can see positions of ships shipping all around the island itself here. What we also had the day after the assault, President Franklin D. Roosevelt asked Congress to declare war on Japan. Um, so let's see, Pearl Harbor is 2,000 miles from the U.S. mainland, about 4,000 miles from Japan. If you see the route that they took, it was really a long route using the element of surprise. Let's see, we let's see the USS Arizona itself. Uh, the story about the U.S. The Arizona is about 8 a.m. The planes filled the sky. Bombs, bullets rained. As many accounts were, it was a Sunday morning. There were a lot of people on shore duty, and a lot of the munitions and all were locked up. They, and stuff. But at 8:10, an 1,800-pound bomb smashed through the deck of the battleship USS Arizona, landed in the forward ammunition magazine, which exploded the ship. And the ship, and we'll talk more about this, exploded and sank, where more than 1,000 men were left inside. Of course, then the attack continued to the Oklahoma, which were capsized and slipped under the water. In less than 2 hours, every battleship in Pearl Harbor, the Arizona, the Oklahoma, the California, West Virginia, Utah, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Nevada had sustained significant damage. And as I said before, all but the USS Arizona and the Utah were eventually salvaged and repaired. So the total statistics, the attack on Pearl Harbor killed 2,403 U.S. personnel, including soldiers, sailors, and civilians. Additionally, almost 1,200 were wounded. 129 Japanese soldiers and airmen were killed. Half of the dead at Pearl Harbor were on the USS Arizona. And today, what we're going to show and talk about, the battleship, what remains of it, serves as a memorial to all Americans who died in the attack. So, all right. And then, of course, the next day, President Franklin D. Roosevelt addressed a joint session of Congress asking for a declaration of war. And the famous quote that yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. And that was the famous quote as starting off that. So there's some basic stats with what happened with this. And today is December 3rd, 2023. We're approaching the 82nd anniversary of the attack, which will be, I think, Thursday this week would be the actual anniversary. So like we said, here's the situation of that morning, as you can see, which is interesting. There's so much history in here. You can look back, like we talk about cruisers are named after cities. There's submarines, there's tenders. The Neosho, which is right here in the middle, was actually one of the few American oiler ships that the U.S. military had at that time. It would become famous to being sunk a few months later at the Battle of Coral Sea. So, Carol, any thoughts? Anything about how did they present the events to you when they talked to y'all about it? Either the driver or say the park rangers at the park. How were they presenting this information?
Sorry, just going in and out on my end. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You there with
Sorry.
us?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you. You're good and clear.
Okay.
So, but I mentioned some of this, the
Okay.
facts and the stuff with it. But how were they with presenting? How did they present this? Was it all
Yeah.
speak? Was it all lecture? Was it partially billboards and stuff? I mean, how did they present the events to the you at the memorial?
The one of once you got there, it's actually like billboards, to be honest with you. It's like you would enter and before going in, they would tell you to please respect where you're heading into, because you are going into literally like a lot like a cemetery, or
Hmm.
respecting the your fellow what do you call it, servicemen and women, who were there. Um, no, they didn't want no like flash photography, stuff like that, but they would show you, they would tell you how to navigate yourself around there. So there would be billboards telling you the story of how it started. And
Hmm.
that's some of the pictures that I took that I could at least get a bit. Some of them are too
Yeah,
glary
we'll
because the
get.
sun was hitting it. So I
Yeah.
wasn't able to get some of the pictures.
Hmm.
But they said they basically you can they would have you, you can wear earphones and you can have that told to you while you're walking around. But if you didn't,
Hmm.
you just walked around and you read the billboards that were there.
No, that's interesting. We on a lot of our tours, they've gone to more of those self guided audio tours too. So, of course, the current park it features the
Yeah.
USS Missouri Memorial on the other side, which is right on Battleship Row. It
Mhm.
USS Missouri did not launch till 1944. It was actually famous because it's where the Empire of Japan surrendered to the Allied forces at the end of World War II. The mighty Missouri stayed in action for a long time. I think until the 1990s, I believe. It was very interesting. So, um, and
Mhm.
it's in close proximity where the Arizona remains. So, um, so
Correct.
it's so the layout here, Carol. I guess were you? How did the which side of the island did you? I guess where would you park and how would you get? I mean, obviously you'd have to take a boat out to the memorial itself, right?
Yes. Yes, they would tell you what time the ferry would leave.
Hmm.
There's at that time, let me see. At the tour itself used to have a movie beforehand, as now it's two separate tours. You can watch the movie once you get back to the island. It just told you basically the rundown of um, Pearl Harbor, the situation, and then the time that they what do you call it? The Japanese surrendered.
Hmm.
That used to be part of the tour, now no longer. So they would tell you get in line to go to Pearl Harbor, and they would take you in a small ferry. It'll take you about maybe 5-10 minutes to get there,
Hmm.
and then you would arrive at the big location of it, the museum location of it. Um, but they would just say, just be sure that you're on it before they leave, because one tour would go in, you would be there for about 10-15 minutes.
Hmm.
So they would do that. Um,
Yeah.
but it is it's very moving. It's I don't know how to put it in a way. It's so somber. It's to know that these people, these soldiers that were there and they died for your freedom, and it's just it's hard to explain.
Yeah. Understand. Understand.
Mhm.
It's uh, you've got to feel a presence there when you're there.
Yes.
So.
You
Exactly.
do.
Well,
Yeah,
this.
it's very, yeah, you do. Once you go in there, it's a strange feeling, but I don't know how to put it. It's maybe it's strange in my, it's like a calming feeling that you know
Hmm.
that things happen there, this happened there, but you're being respectful to them. You don't want to be like, they believe it or not, they tell you, please keep your kids around your area, no running. Please don't have them run, scream, or anything like that. And that's the majority of what was going on. I mean, there was a lot of families there, but the kids were next to them. No running, no shouting, just paying respect, being
Hmm.
respectful towards all of this.
Yeah. I'm just yeah, definitely. And I think over here to the right is where the this I think the visitor center's over here because it looks like that this is the route you would take from over here across the harbor
Yes.
to the memorial. So I,
Yes,
that
correct.
you know, that reminds me of Charleston Harbor with Fort Sumter. Is he basically, you're on
Mhm.
the coast and then you end up taking a boat out to your destination. So that's what's so amazing is could you imagine what that looked like on December 7th with all those ships in that harbor? Just amazing to see. So, all right, well we're gonna move here.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the first shot that we have of your
It's
pictures.
impressive when you look at the picture that they take.
Hmm. So this is
Yes.
a wide shot of the memorial itself, and I think in the back is that might be either an air tower or a lighthouse. I'm not sure which, but
I think it's a lighthouse or the tower.
yeah.
That's where the Missouri's stationed. That's another tour in itself where you can actually go into the Missouri and check that out as well.
And I now looking at the map. This must be from the visitor center where you're about to load onto the launch. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. That's where um, we're in a section where there are the plaques and the billboards were there, so we got a good distance of it. So we got a picture of it.
Mm-hmm. That's all. Yeah. So, and then what we have now, like you mentioned about the Missouri, is now the permanent home
Mhm.
of wide view from the
Correct.
visitor center. Also, folks, what's kind of cool is battleships are everywhere because we have that Alabama over in Mobile Bay, and there's others around. But this one had such significance because it's where the surrender actually occurred.
Mhm.
I mean, you sit there and you see history right in front of your eyes. You know what happened. Douglas MacArthur was on that ship. You had the surrender on that ship. Just so much history on it, and all of it is. That's why I love history. Is there's a lot of stories to be told, and there's a lot of emotion to it. A lot of things happen, and it's like you said, you can't explain it. It's just one of those things that you feel. So,
Right, correct.
and folks, if you have questions, feel free to put them in our chat. We'll do our best to answer if we can. You know, so we'll see. So then we've got another view of the Missouri. This one is up close on the. This almost looks like it's from the memorial itself, or very close to the memorial.
Yes, I was actually on the memorial itself. We were waiting in line to head out, and I
Hmm.
said, "Just let me do a quick get a quick picture of it." And literally, this is a rushed picture because we were moving already. So I just snapped it and I got
Yep.
it. And it's like this is my background to my phone, which I actually love this picture.
Yeah, I visited Alabama once, and my my in laws ran me off the ship pretty much. It was like they wanted to go eat and stuff, and I'm just like, folks, these battleships are so big, you could get lost in them very, very easily, and never see all of it,
Yeah,
But the one thing is,
definitely.
you've got to be in some kind of condition because there's so many steps, bulkheads, everything else. You've got to be able to do that. But just becoming, getting on the deck is a lot. But I
Mhm.
personally have never been on a flat top on an aircraft carrier. That's what I want to do one day. Well, and you can see how they had the original guns, the big 16 inchers, but then of course you see all the modern attachments, the anti-aircraft domes and the dome sonars. You can see how the ship was modified and
Yeah.
modernized over the years.
Yeah.
Over here. Okay, and like you were saying, Carol, this there's actually several different tours on that you can take there,
Yes.
correct? So
Correct. Yes.
now I guess you have the historic sites. That's one, and then of course you have the Pearl Harbor Memorial, which is uh, the Arizona Memorial, the Submarine Museum, the Battleship, and then the Aviation Museum. And they're all, I guess, they're all separate missions, separate tours.
Correct. Yes. So the one that was basically the closest one to us was Pearl Harbor in Missouri. The aviation one was actually across, um, where the Pearl Harbor is across like the bridge, like
Mm-hmm.
probably about mile down. And then that was the aviation one. There's a submarine one that was like probably down, you can say down the street from where the Pearl Harbor is. That's a totally different tour.
Yeah, it's interesting how they do those. I mean, I don't think you could do them justice multiple in one day either, because we're going to see what's in the Pearl Harbor Museum also. So when you factor that in, it'd be really a rushed event to try to see all these in one day, or even two in one day. Yeah, it could be possible with two in one day, possibly. But if you're like me, yeah, you might as well spend a day for each if you can. So if you did, so you with the Pearl Harbor
Pretty
Memorial,
much, because I mean, there's so much information that you want, so much to see. So they say that usually a lot of people do one a day if they're there for a long time.
right,
If their stay is
right,
a little longer.
right, yeah. So y'all did the one on this
Excuse me.
trip. Oh, no problem. That's cool. If you had to choose, which of the others,
Yeah,
the
we only
battleship,
just did the
submarine?
Pearl Harbor one. Yeah.
Yeah. If you chose one, which one more? See, I think I'd
You
take the
know what?
battleship.
I think I would have done the Missouri. The
Yeah.
submarines, I'm not too keen on being enclosed. I'm not claustrophobic, but I just get antsy. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good.
I think it's the drum that is out in Mobile Bay. Yeah. You want
The
claustrophobia,
aviation would have been
confinement.
nice. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, see, that's part of what with the attack that gets overlooked is that
yeah,
everybody
no
thinks the
submarine.
battleships in Pearl
I'm
Harbor,
good.
but yeah, you take the submarines to everybody else. Yeah, but aviation, the Hickam Field and the other airfields, the fighters were put tip to tip, and they were so afraid of sabotage. Well, it did, you know, didn't help when they were getting attacked and bombed. What is interesting, we'll talk about it a little bit more, but of how the Japanese actually had to modify things to in this battle for this attack. Sorry, didn't mean to go too. So now we're going to enter the Pearl Harbor National Memorial. This is the visitor center that we have here.
Mm.
So here's this. Let me go ahead and let you explain this one, Carol, for everybody out there. Hello, Admiral Teague. How are you today? Good to see you.
Hello, Emerald.
Hey,
So this is
okay.
at the entrance of the Pearl Harbor, and this one is called the Lone Sailor. I forgot to send you the picture of it, but I have it up on my phone. The lone sailor represents the men and women who have served, are serving, or will serve in the Navy. He's called the lone sailor, yet he is hardly ever alone. He's about 25 years old, a senior second class petty officer who is fast becoming a seagoing veteran. He has done it all. He's fired weapons in war, provided humanitarian assistance in faraway lands, been attacked by the enemy, and defended our freedom. He has been made he has been made liberty calls in great cities and tiny villages where he was once a tourist, ambassador, adventurer, and a friend, missionary to those less fortunate, and representative. Sorry. are a way of life. His shipmates remember him with pride and look up to him with respect. So that's what the plaque is, the one that comes in once you enter the area of Pearl Harbor. So you see him first, and right across him is the
Hmm.
anchor. So he's just known as the lone soldier, sailor,
Okay.
soul.
And he's got his duffel bag. So
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So and this is on the way into the visitor center. So the Lonely Sailor.
Correct.
It's
Yep.
now we're actually going to take a look, couple picture views of the memorial itself, and
Mm.
end up at the visitor center. So let's see the plaque. I presume this is on the monument itself, correct?
Yes, correct. That is when you enter, you'll turn right, and it's like right on the wall to it.
Right.
And
Memorial of the Pacific, Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. It's really let's see.
it's very difficult to read because
Yeah,
we were literally being, you can say it, not rushed, but they were telling us you got to go in, you can't stop. And I tried to get the pictures as best I could.
yeah. Oh, you did
But
a
they, yeah,
fascinating job. Yeah,
like I said, I try, like I'm trying. But they, yeah, they wouldn't let you stop on there. They just wanted to move it along because it's not
hmm,
something they just have you. Okay, you can stand there and just read the whole thing. Yeah, they would, but they would kind of just like move you along.
right. It's like, see, my wife knows that I'm one of those that will stand there and plant because it's like, I
Yeah,
understand respecting the history, and I'm going to read the sign, and I'm going to read it. They put it there for a reason, but I know, I
right,
understand. We've been part of those tours too before, and it's like, look, I know y'all got to get other people going it through, but give us a minute to pay the proper respect to it, to read it
correct.
properly. So to get a good
Yeah,
picture. But yeah, I mean, it came close. You came close to getting
yeah.
a lot of the words in there. I mean, for being rushed there. So yeah,
I wish I could have gotten a better. Couldn't. I could have gotten a better picture of it. Uh,
yeah. But we see the point. We got the memorial here, the Arizona Memorial, and said the
yep.
Memorial of the Pacific. Let's go here. Okay, this is the inside here. Now the this
That
list.
is,
Go ahead.
yeah. That is the gentleman who was telling us, the ranger that was on its marble,
Hmm.
and it's got the name of all the soldiers who were on the Pearl Harbor. And you're not allowed to take flash photography in there.
Hmm.
You can take pictures all you want, but no flash photographies.
Now, were all these the people that were actually entombed on the Arizona?
That were uh, serving on the Arizona.
Right. Okay. All right. I
Yeah,
found it interesting. They have Navy, and they also actually distinguish the Marine Corps because there are
they,
Marines on the ships too.
yes. Let me see. There was yeah, on they added the names as well as the I guess the other not ranks, the other divisions like Army, Navy, where where they were and who died. And on the side, there's other names on I don't know if you can see it on the little, on the far right bottom. There's also names there,
Yeah, the Marine Corps.
right? Yeah. So
Hmm.
they had like names of like everybody basically who perished.
Yeah, it's
They didn't want to
interesting.
leave
There's
anybody.
there's
Yeah.
also like a little thing down here too.
Hmm.
So let's see. There's also, I think it started over there and then went up. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is amazing to see.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would have had a better view, and I took one picture that came out. It was about to be perfect, but some lady with a big hat got right in the way.
ugh,
So I was very like not happy.
big
So
hat ladies. Yeah,
yes,
exactly. So
and I'm like, okay, I'll let it go.
let me say hello to your Muslim uncle. He's saying well, greetings, and he says thank you very much for sharing this, especially for people who haven't been able to go. One of my good friends' grandfather was a World War II veteran. He passed last year at 100. Yeah, and I tell you, that's all of those survivors of the attack are gone, I believe,
Mhm,
and it's been, like I said, this Thursday will be the 82nd anniversary uh, of the attack, and and then as we see these like over 900 names um, that are that are entombed in the remains that are there. Now, what we'll see of what we see today is not necessarily what was exactly there after the war. We'll see some pictures with that
mhm.
as part of the museum exhibit. So, what was your okay when you went in this room? Can you explain the
Yep.
ambiance? Can you explain how you felt? Was it echoey or just what? What did it feel like being in this shrine?
It was quiet, and it was a sense of just really, like I said, being respectful,
Hmm.
honoring these soldiers that lost their lives. It was to the point where you can hear a pin drop. It was so quiet, and it's like not nobody was making fusses or anything like they knew once you went in there, it was just quiet, and you could take pictures and all, but then you would go in, read off some names, and then just move on. It was peaceful. I don't know if that's a good way to put it.
No, it does. Yeah, and I noticed
It's
there's these two
uh,
there's these two front pieces that have we don't have enough detail to blow it up to see what do you know what were on these little things up front here.
there were names, I believe there was. Let me see. I'm just straight. Their names, uh, it's, I guess that they have years as well, but it doesn't say what they were. Um,
Hmm.
because one has like the year 2012, 13, 15, 16, 17. Not sure if that was when they passed,
Hmm.
but they
Yeah.
have names of like soldiers as well.
Okay. Yeah. It
Yeah.
just all these things. See, when we were at Vicksburg, we went into the Illinois Monument, which was
Mhm.
very haunting. It was actually dedicated to all the units that fought at Vicksburg that from the state of Illinois. But what was interesting really with it was they have a hole in the ceiling and it was so hauntingly echo. Your voice carried. It was really haunting in a way.
Mhm.
So, and welcome in, buddy.
Yeah,
Yes.
when you were in there, you would whisper because if you talked, it did echo.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they would basically the ranger that was there is just basically try not to try not to speak loudly. Don't yell, don't scream or anything because he said there's an echo in there. So
Yeah,
so
it
people
happens.
went
I
in
think
there and just respectfully, yeah, but we're
there,
quiet.
there's something with that. I think the marble with the way they build them too that just naturally bounces. But it's better to be polite and to be respectful.
Yes.
But just there's a natural echo in these things, in any of them that I've been in. That's kind of interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, exactly.
But
Because we also had Army air bases that were attacked too, because it was Army Air Force. Hickam Field was one of the main airfields that was heavily attacked. So we did, and at the beginning we talked about that. We actually, looking back at the information we had earlier, that let's see, 2403, 2,403 U.S. personnel, including sailors, soldiers, and civilians, were killed. Additionally, another 1,200 were wounded, while the Japanese casualties were 126 killed. So, and like I was saying, and we're going to see some more just a minute. We're looking at the shrine now, but about to see
mhm,
some of the remains of the Arizona that half of the dead at Pearl Harbor were on the USS Arizona. And we'll get to Admiral Teague's point in
yeah.
just a second. Today, the sunken battleship serves as a memorial to all Americans who died in the attack. But also further beyond that, this memorial, the remains of it, also serves as the final burying place of over 900 uh, sailors, Marines that were stationed on the
Yeah.
Arizona. So,
Yeah.
well, good to see you today, Stunning. Appreciate you being here. Yes, exactly, Admiral Teague. I remember. Yep, I know. U.S. Army Air Force. Yep, and that
Yeah.
Jimmy Stewart was a great U.S. Air Force. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's true. They were feared the sabotage, so they grouped them together to, to protect them instead of spreading out. But there's all those kind of debates that we can have with it too. Very much so. One of the points that Teague talked about is, and this is really part of the horrible thing, is the
Mhm.
Arizona went down so quickly with the massive explosion,
Correct.
and
Yeah.
they were trapped underwater. It happened.
Yeah.
There were other ships like I think the Oklahoma's one we saw was capsized, where they just couldn't get to them. They could hear them tapping for weeks and stuff
Mhm.
until finally there was no more sign, and it just had to be a brutal rescue attempt and recovery operations also. Because didn't they tell you some about the recovery operations, how they went?
They yes, they did. They tried to rescue as much as possible. Um, Basically, they try to recover as much as they can. That some were told to leave what was there, um, because unfortunately they were not able to be saved, and much of the soldiers were traumatized where they couldn't reach their brothers, um, because of like the admiral said that the tapping, and they tried to get them, but it was impossible to get to them, and it was just traumatized to them. It's like knowing that they couldn't help, they couldn't rescue their brothers there. But unfortunately, it came to the end where they had to call off the the rescue, and so they had what they had.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then it's a lot of that. They were saying that it's unfortunate, but um, it had to be that way. And at that time, it's they couldn't do much.
Well, in the case of like the Oklahoma
Yeah.
where it capsized, that
Mhm.
I can't even tell you. I'd have to look it up. But we're talking about people might think, well, get a welding torch, blow a hole. You can't
Yeah.
just cut through a battleship like that. They've got so many thicknesses. The thick it was designed to be heavy and almost
Yeah. You just
indestructible.
can't
To
do it. You can't. Yeah.
yeah. Or if you
Yeah.
can do it, it's going to take you a hell of a lot of time, more time than the guys in there really have to
Right.
oxygen. You remember, oxygen supply runs out.
Yeah.
So exactly, and so that's why, and that why they ended up having a lot of people buried at sea in a lot of these things. I mean, and this is just the first battle right off the bat.
Yeah.
There are battles for 4 more years of ships sunk at sea, where the final resting places are. And actually, I'm going to talk about that a little bit as we come up to some of the other information that we have here.
Mhm.
Um, and if you can think of any other things that they were told you about, feel free to throw them out at any point. And I appreciate the comments that people are putting out
Yeah.
here, respectful comments. And if you have questions, we'll try to deal with it the most that we
Yes.
can. Um, and yeah, exactly. There's a lot of emotions. It
Yes.
became very personal to a lot of people. My granddad was a Marine in Guadalcanal, and he brought it home with him.
Yes.
And there's so much brutality, and it was like and emotions run deep with a lot of the stuff. Buddy Hepburn said the USS Utah with its memorial is on the other side of Fort Island, but is not accessible to the public. It's a war grave as well. Yes, yes, the Utah was one that went down to was one of the two ships that they never tried to bring back up to resurrect. Yeah, super armored against torpedoes. Exactly, exactly. It's like when you hear the account of the battleships like the Yamato that was sunk. It took so many damn torpedoes to hit it to finally to breach it to you know they were designed to take a lot of damage before opening up to flood. So yeah, yeah. So
The
it's
ranger is also when we were listening to him, they said that it's still to this day, it's still leaking that oil.
Yes.
So, and it's as of right now, they're saying it still has for another 20 years. So
Did you see that when you were there? I know we don't have pictures of the video because I've seen video of that before. Uh,
I think the only thing I have is no, I don't. Do I? No, I have pictures of one of the, I guess the what do you call it? One of the tubes where they go up and down the ladder, but I don't have one where they show the oil. I thought I did
right.
had one. I thought I had one.
Yeah.
No, I do not have. No, I don't.
Yep.
Um, but he was saying it's still leaking the oil. You can see it. You can see it. You can see the shininess around it. I just didn't take a picture of it.
Yep. No, I know that account. I'm glad you brought that point up because that's something to remember. It is leaking, and you can still see video of the oil bubbling up
Yeah.
too. It's just amazing how we're 80 years later and it's still there.
Yep.
Wow. And the story about the Utah was that they were moored on Ford Island, and then they attacked. They were 16 torpedo bombers from Japanese aircraft carriers Soryu and Hiro flew over Pearl City, approaching the west. And um, so they basically, they're sitting ducks there. They took 6 torpedoes against the Utah. 2 of them struck while another missed and hit the cruiser Raleigh. Um, and one man, Chief War Tender Pete Tomich, remained below decks to ensure as many men could escape, keep vital machinery running as long as possible. He received the Medal of Honor posthumously for his actions. And at 8:12, Utah rolled over on the side. Those cruise members who had managed to escape swam to shore. Uh, and almost immediately, they heard men knocking from inside the capsized ship. So uh, they rescued 4 men from the ship. In total, 58 officers and men were killed, but 461 survived off the Utah. But the Utah was also one that it had just gotten training refitting for anti-aircraft carriers, for anti-aircraft action, and it was not ever brought back to service. So and let's see, exactly. And I tell you what, um, yeah, exactly. It did cause a lot of it caused a lot of anger and reaction. They had call ups, people volunteered, came out. So definitely
Yep.
a lot happened there. So Buddy's point is, right here is they did try to right the ship, but could only get to 38 degrees, and then it was abandoned, stricken from the register. So hey, no, the Nevada is the ship that got underway. The Nevada, and let's see, let me take this down, and if you look back at it, let me go back to my
Mm.
original screen here. All right. This is the situation December 7, 1941. The Nevada is up here. The exit of the harbor is to the north here. The Nevada is the one that actually got on the way. It was the lead of the battleship Roe. But of course, where they took enough damage that they saw they ran aground instead of sinking in the middle of the channel. So well, that's interesting. We'll have to research that then, Teague. Definitely something to look at. So I just wanted to show that that's where the Nevada was in a position, and it took a while. Imagine getting the boilers up for a ship like that, trying to get underway. It's just amazing. So, all right, so we're back here, and this is the what is in the marble amongst the names to the memory of the
Yes.
gallant men here entombed and their shipmates who gave their lives in action on December 7, 1941 on the USS Arizona. So,
Yep. That is in the middle of the with all the names inside that white marble
yeah,
room.
it's just amazing. It's, all right, and here's one of the placards outside with the actual maps of the Arizona. So you can see the battleship, what it looked like, before the attack and
Mhm.
cross section diagrams, top and then cross side. And here's the remains of the ship today. Actually, it looks like the forward turret is still together but underwater. The way this looks, it's just this is part of that gets me is how it just how's it visually looking. But they let's see, we'll try to pull up here. There's the two turrets up front. You got the turrets in the
Yeah.
back. The current memorial is here, which spans over the top of the ship.
Yeah.
Now, this was not what we see today is not what it was like in 1942 or just shortly after the attack. Did this have more with it, Carol, or is this pretty much just a
That was pretty much what that's pretty much what it is there.
mm,
Um so the ranger would just explain this, like, basically, here you are, this is where you are, this is what you're going to see. Um so if you're standing like where I am,
mm-hmm,
the like the two to the left is what you would see to the left of me, and then you would see the other, I guess. I think they have something circled. I'm not sure. I can't see, but that would be to the right.
right?
That's the like
Yeah,
the visual, what you can see, what's underwater. That's
yeah,
actually above that you can see.
okay, yeah, that is
Yeah,
interesting.
because
All
the
right,
top of there, that's where you enter. Yeah,
mm-hmm. Because then we move from that to here's some of the wreckage. Yeah, because see, there's
yeah,
that's probably the thing that's
yep.
there, but this is you can see part of the ship remaining underground.
That is,
And like I said, if we, like Carol mentioned, video, we probably could have seen some bubbles from the oil coming up, but that's amazing how that stuff does takes forever to look. Admiral T Googled Beagle story is true. It was the Richard Fisk of West Virginia on the West Virginia. Okay, all right. Well, thanks for checking
uh,
that. We always like to validate things too. We got this picture. We got now. See, this is compare that to this. This
yeah,
was the recovery team on the Arizona, and like Carolyn said, is they had to cut off operations at some point. But you
yeah,
can see that the ship ended up resting mostly underwater, but see, still the superstructure and all, there was a lot of still that remained above the surface that they had to scrap. Did they talk about the actual salvage process any on the tours, like of the metal and the ship itself, or just focus on the rescue efforts?
they just focused on the rescue. They didn't mention anything about what they did with the rest of the metal. Um, they just basically just focused on the rescue, what they did, and how they did it, and when basically they had to just call it off.
Mm-hmm.
So that's mostly what they did. They didn't focus on the metal aspect of
Right.
it.
Okay. Yeah, but that's the thing is with a lot of these ships that you see that they left the Utah and the Arizona, but they resurfaced a lot of and it just was it's just amazing to to think about the sheer the scale of what they had to do with these operations. Not only the rescue of the humans, but to really right these ships and get them put back into service. Because I've read some accounts of them, and it's just fascinating to see what they can do. And this is back before they had a lot of the technology we have today. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, no. So yeah, but this is one thing because what we see today, we just see what's left as the tomb and what's underwater at its surface. But there was still a lot above the surface at the end.
Correct.
So, and like it said, the crews were going around in small boats picking guys out of the water as they floated up.
Yep.
Somebody they never thought about.
That's one. Yeah, one of the.
Yeah,
I think it says right underneath it. You can see it. I guess who said it. It's,
yep,
yeah. It wasn't something that they ever thought. They'll never forget.
yep. Exactly, and we've seen the dramatization of some of the movies, but see, look, it's still more of the ship above the waterline, which then Well, we're on the
Yeah.
memorial itself now. We're seeing parts of what's left. Uh, this almost was this. Well, I was about to say smokestack, but it can't be because look, there's a ladder. Did they explain what this part is? These parts that you could see. Did they explain what those were?
No, that's part of the. They didn't really go into details on that part, but they just said that they were just able to cut some of the remaining off and just left that one as is.
Yeah, because
Because from behind, that's where the oil's coming on from the one behind it.
mm-hmm,
They
yeah,
didn't, like I said.
that has to be some
Go
kind
ahead.
of way to go up the ship or something. Because, like I said, there's that ladder there. That's the thing that gets my attention there. Um, have that, and this is right off the memorial itself. It's like they built the memorial right up to it. And then here, this is one of the turrets here in the back. They
Yeah,
and we'd see the blue water, and you can see the deck of the ship here under the surface of water.
correct. Yep. Let me see if I just trying to find something here on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
yeah, they that's basically the map that that was shown. It's like this is what where you are, and this is what you'll be able to see um, above the water.
yep,
So,
yep.
and that's
So
on one of them. I believe that's the one where that's the one that's it's still leaking the oil.
let's see. I'm gonna switch back to this one right here again.
Mm,
Let's see. Back to this picture.
right.
So that's looking off that
So,
because there's that one.
yeah, that
There's
little one right there. That
that's the pole. That looks like what was up against the memorial, and I think that's the next thing there. So,
yeah.
uh,
Let's
hmm.
see.
You did a great job with the pictures, though. Thank you for taking pictures like this. This is awesome, and like I
You're
said,
welcome.
I'm sure you could always do better. And Mrs. always is upset when she doesn't do the right. But I mean, these are great pictures. But I understand. What we went, like I said, we went to Sumter once. It's like, yeah, I paid money to get here. I want to enjoy and be respectful. And it's like they have the other thing about moving you through.
Yes, that's
So,
the only issue. And like I understand that you want to get all the tourists in there, not, but you do have to at least give them a chance to read,
well,
see what you're taking a picture of.
especially considering they underwent all this cost and time to go to Hawaii. It's
Right,
not like it's not like it's there. So, all right.
right.
So then we've got this. This about a sacred site. Still, it's
Yes.
enshrined with under 900 men that were lost that day, but they still would bury
Mhm.
survivors later as history goes along. There's an urn, and they you know and like the
They
quote, a dive team member said, "It's a large hole, and we place the urn through. Then you can kind of feel it release. I tell the family when I feel that pull, it's a ship accepting one of its own back."
yes. Um, it's like we like let me like quickly say like I was telling you, Dad, man, that when I went about 5, 6 years ago, we got to meet one of the soldiers that was the last remaining soldiers. So what that we knew that had permission. So once he passed away, he was able to get that permission to be buried with his brothers in the Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an honor to basically meet him. Um, I was very bad with names, still bad with names, but once he passed away, he was buried alongside his brothers in the Arizona.
Yeah.
So
It's still a shrine. I mean, we have the
yes,
shrine that people can go visit with the names, and now that they still after that buried at sea, these guys back with their buddies, their crewmates. Um, it's it's a graveyard. You know,
Yes.
and
That's what they said. That's, it's just please be respectful. You are walking on graves, and it's to that, to them obviously, it's sacred ground to them. Just be
mhm.
respectful. You know.
And it says that the MPS diver holds an urn containing the ashes of an Arizona crewman. She will place it within the circular barbette that once held gun turret 4.
Mm,
So, and that's where they put it in there. So, and the shrine room displays the names of 1,177 Arizona crewmen lost in the attack. Uh, and then another list honors the survivors who rejoined their shipmates in the waters below. So,
yep.
so there were, we think of the 900, but that's just what the number of sailors that were left buried in the ship. But there were more that died outside the ship after or on the decks, or that they did recover. So,
Right. And they added them to be with their brothers there.
mm-hmm. Let's see here. Of course, we have the Purple Heart for dead and wounded servicemen. Were awarded the Purple Heart then, honoring the dead, and more placards that are here. So you can see,
Yep.
again, more ships on the surface. The destruction was there. Not a little crippling for a bit, but not. Obviously the U.S. Came up fairly quickly and ended up turning of the war. The production capacity replaced a lot of these things, and a lot of these were old ships too, older class ships and stuff that were not state of the art. And you could see, especially in the advent of aircraft carriers, you started having the fast battleships now that were being developed to keep up pace with the aircraft carriers. So
Yeah.
yeah. So let's see what this here. The Road to War. The museum is also part of this. How long? How big is this museum, and how long do you think it takes to go through?
To get to get through, believe it or not, it's not a big museum. Um, it'll probably, if you stand there and read it, you'd probably be there a while.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause there's a lot of information in there. There's a lot of video footage that they put up on the TV where they explain to what's going on. Um, but if you're going in and out, you'll probably be there by maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes, half an hour. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I tried to get as much as I could of what it is. The museum, like I said, is not that big. It's probably like it's almost like a snake wise style.
Mm. Okay.
So go like yeah, like that, and then by the time you know it, you're like out the door already. But
Yeah.
but you go in. There's a lot of placards, a lot of information, and then you have the replica of the Arizona, and then you have the replica of the Japanese.
Right. And we're going to see a bit about
Yeah.
both of those coming up here. The battleship USS Arizona was commissioned October 1916. Crew of 1,512 were assigned on December 7, 1941. Length of 608 feet, speed of 20.7 knots, displacement of 32.6 tons. And you can see from a front view, you got two turrets on the front, usually one in the back. Let's see here, you got steel from the front, but it looks like in this class had two turrets in the back. So you
Mhm.
can see the towers. Very nice model with this. I believe that is probably a shell that the because it looks very familiar to what we've seen the Missouri Fire or New Jersey
Yes.
or Iowa and all the stock footage. Yes.
Yes. So they put it. Yeah, that's what it was used. So they put it right up front. The uh, the display.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Exactly. All right. So there's the Arizona here, and we can
That
see in the back. The background is one of the six Japanese aircraft carriers that were participated in the raid, which was this one is the Akagi, which was, I believe, a converted capital ship. They made it into a aircraft carrier. So, and there's the sign rail there with the Akagi. There were six Japanese fleet carriers that participated in this attack. the Akagi, the Kaga, the Hiryu, Soryu, Zuihu, Suikaku, and Shokaku. So good to see you, Rod. How are you doing today? Thanks for coming by. Good to see you. We're just taking a look back at Pearl Harbor. Carol, my friend here, went and actually visited the Pearl Harbor Memorial this year, and we're taking a look at some of the pictures she took with it. The Akagi being one of the six fleet carriers for the Japanese Empire. If you notice, their flight deck is way above the hangars in the bottom. It's kind of an open area. It's a different type of carrier, uh, but than American standards, and even the newer Hiryu and Soryus were designed a lot differently. Um, and I tell you, and um, normally let's see, normally the the bridge is on the starboard side, but one of the carriers had a bridge on the port side, which was uh, odd. I'm just trying to look at that. But this is another view of the Akagi and the Scare Mart. Yep. So all right. So basically, there's articles why that they have islands on the starboard side, but uh, not going to all that too today. The Hiryu and the Akagi that were both eventually sunk at the middle of Midway had islands on the port side. So kind of unique things that happens in it with that. So it's
Mhm.
yeah, and it has to do, I believe, with traffic jam issues. So it kind of that's why they quit and they started like the Americans putting the bridges on the starboard side. So, but that's yeah. Ow, shoot, sorry, my leg slipped. All right, we got another one, and these are the torpedo bombers. I'm wondering if that's a Kate. What's interesting though is you see this is reflective of what the Akagi looked like. It really not comparable to the American carriers or even some of the newer Japanese carriers with this down below. But if you look, their long lance torpedo there, their torpedoes were very effective in the war. But what they had to do for Pearl Harbor is a shallow harbor. They could not run normal torpedo depths with their torpedoes on the attack. They ended up using wood planks to lighten it, to keep it from sinking so far down into the water, to keep it closer to the surface, which made the attack more effective for torpedoes. They followed a similar British tactic at a battle against the Italian Navy earlier in the war. And, is a bit ingenious with that, but you can see that in some of the movies about Pearl Harbor, and that's true. That actually happened. So, all right. Then okay, we see the models. Then also, what and the exhibits? How would you explain them?
This picture is actually once when you enter the past the I'm sorry, the ships, they start showing you basically like news reports and things like what they were writing about. Sorry, my computer like, and just like basically the story of what they were doing, how getting together to basically try to end this and try, like it says, like for peace.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. They were still, like I said, it was still negotiating on the morning.
Some of
Well,
the yeah,
yeah.
I think, I don't know if you can get a little closer. I think that does explain a little bit of that said the negotiation.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
just trying to find. Sorry, I'm just trying to find some things here as well.
Yeah.
Um,
So basically, the news stories.
the,
You have the last efforts at peace with the whether a lot of people think
yeah,
that they were like window dressing. Well, apparently, when that must have happened. Did you have something else?
No, no, no. So
Um, and a lot of it comes down to the sanctions the U.S. had placed on Japanese uh, government during that time. Sanctions that were taking home oil, fuel, all those type of things that went to the 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 things that fuel the war industry. You know, fuel your army, your navy. Japan did not have the natural resources of the United States, but really went into Southeast Asia to get a lot of what it needed, metals and and
right,
oil. And so, of course, this quote attributed to Ambassador Nomura in November 1941 said that if the U.S. doesn't ease up sanctions against Japan, the military men in my country are going to be driven to do something desperate, which then, that's what we see.
yeah,
December 7th. Uh, and now we're not here to get into the nitty gritties about why, how, what the attack, because there's a lot
mm,
of back and forth and a lot of subjection on all that. There's a lot of things. Mostly what we wanted to focus on today was to bring you guys some pictures from Hawaii itself and to um,
yeah.
see what had happened. And it's more in the library about the stuff. Yeah, Carol, did you have something to say?
No, it's basically
Uh,
the pictures that I've been taking. It's just basically they're showing the two point of views of what the Americans saw and what the Japanese are seeing, um, and what their point of views were on each side, um,
yeah,
on that. So
yeah, and because there were two sides, there are always two sides to something, and it's
yeah,
very interesting to see what the other side viewed the same situation, the same facts. So, all right, and then I think we have one more photo here, which is this one. That was the last one. The farewell American soldiers.
yeah,
Uh, Basically, this is like POW stuff. It looks like probably yeah, to wear to the Philippines, to Tokyo. Well, it goes into a lot of stuff, but POW is a big thing, especially out of
yeah.
this war and stuff like that. So, but hey, Carol, thank you for sharing the photos with me. Any other thoughts? Any other things that you want to say? And let me say hello, Hungry Boy, real quick. Hello, Hungry. Good to see you tonight, Sue. And
No,
I'm going to go
no.
back. Well, get your last thoughts together. I'm going to go back through the chat a little bit because I did kind of skip a little bit. I'm going to
Yeah,
try to see if I can grab a couple of these. Uh, yeah, Germany declared war on the U.S. too, in a large part because they had the pact with Japan too, and it was kind of so Hitler had no option to uh, but to go to declare war like they did. So, uh, and I only use that name in the historical context for you galactic overlords because we're talking some history right here, right now. Uh, you know, now there's debate about that, and a lot of people don't play the what ifs with things, but see, a lot of
mm,
it did not necessarily have with radar. One of the problems with the Japanese were their scout patterns, scout plane patterns. They they're better equipped historians to argue with me, but the assertions have been is that they could have used more aircraft, that they could have had more scouts out. But then again, they did not expect the U.S. to be out in the middle of the ocean at that point because the picket screens of submarines was supposed to be in place in time to tell them when the fleet left Pearl Harbor. But that's another discussion for another day. Definitely, we could get
mhm,
really lost in that. Um, yeah, exactly. Because a lot of the ships were older. They're different types of class because of the previous arms treaties that existed in the 1920s and 30s that really were meant to restrict nations in their war making capability. Um, yeah, the Kagai was destroyed at Midway along with the Soryu, Hiro, Kaga, and the Hiryu. Now, um, it's Wade McCluskey. There is, I'm not sure. I think McCluskey might have gotten one because I think in the first day he did not. He his he dropped his bomb because of those stupid arm targeting switches went off too early. But what is interesting though, like you said, in this battle at Midway, I mean at Pearl Harbor, all six fleet carriers were there. Midway, they only sent four because two had been had damage from Coral Sea, which was one lost a flight crews and the other took severe damage that had to be repaired. So they were out of the Midway action. So that's another historian's favorite tight discussion point. So all right, so yeah, 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 and then eventually we have the Doolittle raid and things like that. But Carol, any other thoughts? Thank you for sharing these wonderful pictures and this time today again with me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much for having me. Basically, if you get a chance to and go to Hawaii, definitely this is something you definitely want to do. It's beautiful. It humbles you real quick. Let's put it that way. For things they did that one would say,
Hmm.
I couldn't do that, But
Yeah,
it's incredible.
yeah,
And if I ever get a chance to do it again, I'd do it all over again.
sounds good. I hope we can do it too one day and bring it to the. At least we got a chance to bring some of it to the people that
Yeah.
will not make it there and stuff. And but thank you for your time today. I appreciate Carol.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Thank
All
everybody
right,
in the chat as well.
exactly.
Sorry, I couldn't
So
be a little bit more knowledgeable for
no, you
it.
did great.
But
No,
I was
you
just trying to remember like what
yeah.
I did and everything.
That's all. Hey, it's great. You did great. You did great. Appreciate you. And we were going to
Thank
do this about a month earlier, but I decided asked you
Yeah.
to push it off another month too to get it towards because this Thursday will mark the 82nd anniversary of the attack,
Yes.
December 7th, 1941 at 7:55 a.m. Uh, so folks remember that then. And again, thank you, Carol, for being here. If you have any other thoughts, folks in the chat, throw it down and yeah, I believe that
Thank
was
you
Dick
again.
Best. I think Dick Best got two carriers at Midway. So, oh, some uncle said thank you and go Bruins. Uh,
Yeah, thank you. Hey, your Muslim uncle. Yes.
yes, exactly. And Mrs. says thank you for sharing your experience too. Um,
You're
so
very welcome, Miss Danman.
yeah, all right. Everybody's saying goodbye and stuff out here, but we got 9 people still with us. So remember
Hey.
that, folks. From wonderful times. Thank y'all. Share it out with other people. Yeah, it's great. You know, I enjoyed this time today. I love talking history. Carol, thank you for sharing the live pictures with us, and share this out with
Oh,
other
you're welcome.
people. Get them to look at it and listen. We can make history interesting, and
Hmm.
and not it's hard to say something like this is fun, but it meaningful, and maybe we can learn lessons from
Yeah,
something things that have happened in the past, and so that we don't repeat them. Go ahead.
like eye opening as well, in a way. Like eye opening on what went on, and not just it's interesting, like somebody else's point of view of seeing things, history, where you're physically there in history.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nothing like I say with our Civil War battlefields. It's nothing like being out there on the field itself. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to close here. Thank you again, Carol, for being here with me, and we're going to go with some closeouts. Remember, this Tuesday night, my next planned stream will be a 500 subscriber celebration this Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Hopefully, we're going to have some guests. I'm going to take a look back at the channel, where it started, where it's come to. I hope y'all can join us. Come by, say hi, hang out in the chat, meet people, hear some stories and stuff, and just spend some time with us. Hopefully, y'all can be here for drop bys are cool, but hopefully you'll spend some time and hear some stuff with us on Tuesday night. Want to share a lot with you. Also, make sure not just me. Um, the Mrs. is also a channel now. Mrs. If you could put your link out there for me real quick, I forgot to get that propped up. Make sure you tune into Mrs. Dadman every day at 9 a.m. Now I think on Tuesday she's not going to because she's trying to move computers, or she may or may not be. But the point is every day at 9 a.m. in the morning Eastern, she has a daily dose of positivity. She talks about some stuff. Loves talking. The chat, has a good time. Um, she's up to 88 subscribers and
Cool.
over 50
Awesome.
on Twitch. Yeah, she's over 55. She's 56 on Twitch. She just needs the hours up on the Twitch side. So if y'all
Uh-huh.
have Twitch when she's live, go watch her videos now. that are there, or when she's live, watch her on the Twitch side and help get her view hours because she's trying to monetize on both channels. But it's almost there on the Twitch side. So if you can definitely do that and be on the lookout for her build streams. I believe she has one tomorrow at 12 also for that. That's the YouTube link. Here's the Twitch link. So please go support her, give it. And if you have not seen Twitter yet, you've not seen Twitter yet. Let's see. I go check my Twitter. If I go live, I'm going to show this on Tuesday night. I don't think it's proper to show it today after the material that we've done. But if you see my Twitter page, you've seen what our friend Rambling Canuck prepared for us. I'll play it Tuesday night and show y'all all if you haven't seen it on Twitter yet. So it's an amazing because I guess the 2024 wars for subs has been declared by our friend Canuck between the missus and me, and everybody's money is for the missus that passed me up. So, and I'm looking forward to that day. So go give her some love and support, and thank y'all for being here to all of us. So a lot of what this month will be chill chats or something, a lot of impromptu streams. In a couple weeks, of the week before Christmas, I will probably have a week of Christmas type program coming up. But for the most part, there's a few random scheduled talks, but they're going to be mostly the impromptu chill chats, the fortnights as we feel like it, especially with the new season coming up. We'll also have the late night with Dad Man and Friends, this type of thing that's really been successful. We just got to keep doing it and finding the times to do it, and also that I can function the next day at work. It's like, damn, the sleep does catch up with you at some point, or the lack of sleep. So we're going to check that. And then, of course, all the streams and videos are on youtube.com, twitch.tv at dadmanwalking55. Also, follow me on Twitter, dadmanwalking55. Follow me on Twitter because I always tweet when I go live. That'll be the best backup to the YouTube Twitch notifications, which don't always work, or they get changed on you. And also, make sure you're still subscribed to both of our channels because weird things happen and you can be unsubscribed. Why? I don't know, but it's just the weird things. So, well, with that, folks, be prepared for some more Fortnite shortly. I'm going to get with Aang. Looks like Aang and I are going to be doing something very soon. Come join us, hang out, find out about the island with us, see what's changed, and have some fun with that. But most of all, Carol, once last time, thank you so much for coming on with this, and thank you for being willing to share your experiences. Do you have any last thoughts before we close?
No, Dad, you're welcome very much. You're welcome. It was my pleasure to be on here. A little nervous, but I had fun. I enjoyed myself. Explain,
You did.
letting you know
Well, good.
what went on.
Well, I have to sit there and I'll have to invite you to one of our. Well, you go to bed early, but I was like, at night you don't work. If we do one on Friday, we'll have to invite you instead of Fortnite to come talk late and let you have your voice. These panels are how I start. Well, I actually started with Fortnite, but then I got on panels, and then the missiles tell you I couldn't shut up after that. So
Definitely, just let me know when.
Okay, your Muslim uncle says it's before the last week of Christmas. If you guys have gone out and looked at lights in your neighborhood and have pictures you want to share, I'd love to see them this time of year. Currently, let me talk about what's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
The week before Christmas, we've got a couple of confirmed things. On the Tuesday before Christmas, I'll be talking with Alaska Jeff. We're going to be talking about Christmas up in Alaska and snow and stuff like that. So come for that. Wednesday, Daisy Blossom and I will be talking about everybody's. Well, here's the thing. I want y'all to come. Bring your friends, neighbors. We're going to have a vote that night. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not? What do you think? We're going to celebrate that on the Wednesday night. Then on the Thursday, I got a technical commitment for right now, committed for that day, but that might have more lights and stuff in that than Christmas lights. But then on Friday night, we'll be back to Buck Rogers, but then Saturday, we'll somehow throw some Christmas themes on with Buck Rogers. And then Saturday might be something spontaneous with Christmas lights or whatever. But then on Sunday, join us in the Masters Mexico Maniac when we're going to talk about a German Christmas. So there's a lot of stuff coming up later this month. And your Muslim uncle, I am working on a Christmas playlist of movies. I don't necessarily know if I'll host streams yet, but at least I can put a movie. I can put some movies out there for y'all's consideration. So, and Admiral Teague, come that night, and you can opine on that. Come opine that night. So, on that note, folks, we made an hour and a half, 90 minutes. Y'all have a great one. Carol, thank you again, and everybody, you have a
You're
good day, and
welcome.
hope to see y'all in a little bit with some Fortnite tonight. Bye, all.
Bye.